Hey, it's Barça here, and in today's video I'm going to be explaining why Ansu Fati won't get injured again. Now, of course, there's always a chance he gets injured at some point, but it's more unlikely now. And in this video I'll tell you exactly why. So let's get right to it. First of all, Xavi has brought in a lot of new members to the medical staff, with Ricard Pruna being the most important one. It's no secret that in the time under Koeman, Barcelona had a lot of injury problems. And sometimes players like Eric Garcia had to play at left back, or players like Frenkie de Jong had to play at centre back. In the second half of last season though, Barcelona didn't have too much injury problems, apart from Pedri and Ansu Fati. A great example to show that the new medical staff has had an impact though, and that Ansu Fati's risk is still not too big, is Ousmane Dembélé. Before 2022 he's maybe never had a period longer than 6 months that he wasn't out injured. The biggest problem was that his training didn't match his way of playing. He's one of the most impulsive players on earth and does a lot of sprints during every game. So if he trains like a normal player but then plays the way he plays during games, his muscles are more likely to get overloaded than those of your average player. The new medical staff knew this of course and has probably put Dembélé on a special schedule. And look at him now, he hasn't been on the sidelines for almost a year. So generally this medical staff looks at the situation of every player individually very well. And if a player needs to do some kind of specific training, they will know it. So for Ansu Fati, they can implement this too and make sure his knee gets trained the right way, cause that's where the biggest risk for the young Barcelona star lies after having torn his meniscus. But in general he can get injured more easily if he rushes his recovery, and I think we have a medical staff now that are very careful with him and won't rush him back too soon. That's what happened back when he got injured in January when he picked up an injury to the hamstring. So after that they will have definitely learned to be very careful with him. And we're seeing that now too. Technically he's back from injury, but Xavi's being very careful with him and has only played him as a substitute so far this season. So he's definitely getting treated the right way now. Conclusion, we've got a good medical staff now who know what they're doing. But there's a second reason he's more likely to stay fit from now on. Last season, one of Barcelona's biggest problems was that their attack wasn't that stacked and urgently needed someone who could make a real difference. Someone like Ansu Fati. So the temptation to just put him on the pitch again was very big, and he's relapsed again just because of that a couple of times. And generally, you will have more injuries in your squad if you got less depth, because players will have less rests, and if someone gets injured it will only get worse of course. So for Ansu Fati to always have to return in such a team was far from ideal. Now though, Barcelona's squad depth has changed a lot. Because of that, Xavi doesn't have to rush back Ansu, he's got a perfectly running team without him. Last season you had Dembélé, who was injured at the beginning of the season, Memphis, Luc de Jong, and the second half of the season Ferran Torres, Adama Traoré and Aubameyang. This season it's Memphis, Dembélé who's at his very fittest, Ferran Torres, Rafinha and Lewandowski. So as you see, the number of options actually hasn't changed that much. But it's not about quantity, it's about quality. Now we've only got players who can make the difference and who every team in the world wouldn't mind having. So that's why Ansu is not as necessary as last year and the pressure on his return is almost non-existent. And even if he's fully fit again, Xavi's got way more genuine options to replace him now. So he'll have more rest too every once in a while. And this goes for the whole squad really, but Ansu Fati definitely needed these circumstances most. So I'm very glad for him that Barcelona's attack is amongst the very best in Europe again. And I wouldn't be surprised if he stays injury free throughout the season and will eventually hit top form again. That was it for today's video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and feel free to share your own opinion in the comments down below. Força Barça and have a good day.